Mm. It's an
Hey
important.
guys.
It's an important step, Stuart, to click it.
I did.
Hi.
Hi. Hi everybody. We're back.
Back to the TNG.
Yes, that thing. So yeah, today we're doing a fun episode. I think anyway. I like this one.
Mm-hmm.
A Matter of Time.
Mm-hmm. It's
Some
funny.
might say. Well, I'm gonna say some might say it was only a matter of time till we got to this one.
No one would say that. Not one single
I did.
person. Well, dear me. No, very true. Very true. And yes, it's interesting to come off such a, star-studded two-parter where little happens, to then kind of a bottle show where it's just very Star Trekkiness. They're odd to see them back to back. You don't really think of them being this close together.
Yeah, I was surprised as well. So I'm like, what episode number is this? And I looked at the thumbnail thing, and I'm like, really? This came right after Unification? So, yeah.
What timing. So yeah, after our top 10 yesterday, back to some class TNG. We will see what score we give this at the end. And then, are you doing any other lives this week, Stuart, or the weekend? Pimp them now, or we wait for some people to jump in the live?
Definitely be doing one tomorrow night, my Friday night regular one. So yes, absolutely. This weekend, perhaps we'll see. Not really sure yet. But yeah, I do want to do one on Friday for sure, and they're always good. So if you can make it, stop by.
See, I'm letting you pimp your show.
Absolutely.
I gotta work out what episode's coming out tomorrow because I was not able to. Well, we weren't able to film them when we wanted to, so.
Yeah. Yes. Ring ship. What? Oh.
I'm gonna start on that wonderful note. I'm gonna start sharing.
Okay, Jeremy Clarkson.
Thanks.
Don't know if that's an insult or not. Hey guys, welcome back. And yeah, if you want to hit that like button, that's a great way to help us out. There's 15 likes with 32 people here. We can easily hit 30 likes. So be one of the 15 that makes that happen while I die. We have one super chat as well. We'll get to that in a second, Ozzy. Thank you so much. Super chats are a great way to support us as well. If you're able to, please do. You get your comment read, your question answered, all that kind of jazz. And it really shows your support for the channel. We really appreciate it. You can also join the channel at the rank of Commander, Captain, Admiral, Fleet Admiral, or Federation President. And that's like a monthly way to support us, much like Patreon. And if you want to do Patreon instead, you can go to Patreon/Trekyards, help us there. Or even send us a PayPal. PayPal information is down in the description of every video. Just send it to trekyards@hotmail.com and let us know that you've done it in the regular chat, and we will. One of the Matt Portman says, I see light wave rendering. One of the moderators will let us know that you sent a PayPal, and we will read your comment or question via the email for that. Yeah, also check out the TeePublic store, the Teespring store. The links to those are down in the description below. We also have some Eagle Moss discount, or an Eagle Moss discount code. Just click that Eagle Moss link down below to take you to the site, and then use the discount code Trekyards10 to save yourself some money on checkout. Helps you out, helps us out. You know how it is. Other than that, we'll just have to wait. Tick, tick, tick. Time will pass while Samuel shares this around to get some more viewers in. So in the meantime, just hit that like button. Really simple, easy way to help us out, and it's free. So if you can, and I don't see why you wouldn't be able to hit the like button, please do. Be honest with you guys, haven't had the best of days today. So anyway. He's back, everybody. I'm going to have a drink now because my throat's killing me.
That's a good shout. Well, whimper because you're drinking so you can't make loud noises.
Ozzy, though, $5. All hail the Spirit Commander Robin and Super Captain Batman Foley with Max Headroom, Federation President Skeleton Hands. Okie dokie.
But you know what?
A lot of catchphrases being jammed in there lately.
You know what? Frack Batman.
Why?
Because Robin said that once in a trailer. I never saw the show, so I don't know if he continues to be an angsty prick, but
Oh,
I have no idea. Didn't look very interesting as a show, so.
I don't know which show particularly you're talking about.
The Titans. The one where the guy says,
Oh.
fuck Batman, and it was like, oh my god, Robin, what a piece of shit.
Yeah, it's
What's
kind
a
of a
dark
hardcore.
Yeah.
I've seen like 3 or 4 episodes, but
I mean, he got 3 seasons. So good for them. Anyway, so Stuart,
yes.
season 5, episode 9, Matter of Time. What do you think of season 5, episode 9, Matter of Time?
I remember really liking this one going into it. It was definitely one of my favorites. I do like the actor they have for this, and he does Max Headroom. That's the thing I remember him most from. He also played Sherlock Holmes once, and he's a fantastic Sherlock Holmes as well. So, but yes, I was excited to watch this one again. This is a fun one. Anything time travel is great, and I kind of love the little twist on this one. So it was great to. Going into it, I was very excited to watch it again. If that's what you're asking. So what about you? Like, was this one you were looking forward to? This is a memorable one, so.
Yeah, I mean, I've, as you know, for the most part, we had these on VHS back in the old days of VHSs. Never on DVD and then on Blu-ray. But this is one of about the 10 I've gone back and watched just for pure enjoyment.
Gotcha.
Like Parallels, like Enterprise. This is just a fun, ticks all my boxes sort of one. So I'm quite biased, but I've also seen it many, many times. It's just I enjoy it every time sort of episode, which is, like I say, there isn't that many. Of any of the given shows, there isn't that many I just watch for fun, because I have such a good memory that it goes beyond the I know everything that happens into there's something that I really enjoy. And I think we both like the time travel stuff, even though this isn't time travel and it is. This is a really unique yet obvious spin on the formula. Just the initial premise, let alone the twist. And I think even watching it, obviously I can't rewatch it the first time again to not know the twist, but it's no less enjoyable knowing the twist, given how committed the actor is to the role. It's completely as good the second time round, and subsequent. It doesn't diminish, because you're looking for all the tiny nuances, which there are a ton of. So yeah, it's definitely one of those most interesting, and also, as we've said before, it's a very procedural. It literally is watching a day in the life. Okay, a bad day, but with a very simple time travel twist that is surface level in a sense, like he's just dealing with them in a very real term. And so we get to see a normal day, well, a normal bad day, plus time travel, plus a twist, plus character moments, plus every character gets something. I mean, it's if it doesn't tick all your boxes, I'd be shocked.
The only thing it doesn't tick is the space combat or the ship battle box.
You do get new shots of the miniature though, brand new CG shots that are brand new. So
you get some great shots of the Enterprise and the good motion. Yeah, so I mean that's half a box at least.
And there aren't space battles in most episodes, so by that definition, most boxes are left unticked. And given TNG, there hasn't really been many good space battles this season so far, right? This half of the show, so.
Yeah. No, but I mean, on this watch through, I definitely still loved everything about it.
Yep.
There's very little in this episode that's bad, if anything. Everybody kind of gets something to do, and I mean, some less than others, but at least there's something going on with everybody.
Hey, even the lady who's always on the bridge, who Katie, the lady, the extra. She's in lots of the episodes.
I don't know the.
I said her name out loud while watching it, while looking at her face because she's engineering. Even she's like visibly in it more than she is normally. So yeah, no Ogawa though, but that's okay. Would have been good to have Guinan in. I rarely say that, but that would have been fun. Although probably would have been too much a giveaway. Although that would have been fun if Picard, if everyone sees her in 10 Forward and she believes him, which shows how good command he is. Like that's like a twist that no one sees coming. Like, oh no, oh yeah, Guinan's gonna get it. Oh, she thinks he's great, and that's why everyone believes him, because she's like, oh yeah, he's cool. That would have been a good addition, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Guinan would have definitely supplemented the episode for sure, but not necessarily needed. So
It would have made it look stupid, but he's a good con man, clearly. Like, they don't not buy him until the end when they have, like, evidence. So everyone buys him the entire time. Can't get more believable than that. Than, convincing everybody.
yeah, yeah. And I forgot how good his acting was, honestly. Like, when I watched this again, I'm like, oh, damn, he's so eccentric. And I love his name, too. Professor Ramuzin, or whatever. It always reminds me of Rasputin.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay. It's a unique name, for sure. Is it his name?
No, God, no.
The guy, the time traveler.
No, he took his identity, which is why it works so well. It's just like, everything about him screams not of this era. And that's obviously, he's not like Derek Mackleby. It's like, no. Although I will say, I every single time I've ever watched this, I've heard them say, I'm from the 21st century, and thought he was from our era.
Mm.
So that confused me, because if he's from the 22nd, then that's post NX, post warp travel, post Starfleet, post Federation. So he does come from which obviously, you do need some certain knowledge to get through things, obviously. But like he does, so I always thought he was really a good con man from our era, not later.
I always thought the same thing, actually.
Yeah.
Funny you say that, but because it goes back to him stealing the tricorders and stuff. Like, yeah, you'd be able to, I guess, take it apart and pretend that you invented it, but power cells, things like that are you would need those already constructed. Like, you didn't have the infrastructure to invent these things. So if he's actually from a little bit later era where they're on their way there already, they already have primitive tricorders.
I mean, 22nd century does include everything from Enterprise and before. So, warp travel has been a thing for a while. But I think it's not so much. I mean, he wouldn't. Okay, he'd make one a year, but he wouldn't rebuild it with the same housing. He would have to deconstruct it and make a simpler version. I mean, look at the guy from.
But then you'd have to explain it. You'd have to explain it to your investors, or the people that are going to produce it. You'd have to be able to replicate it, or at least how it works.
Well, yeah, because you reverse engineered your own version from it using pieces you know how, and then you refine that as you go. I mean, it's just the fact that once you see it can be done, you can make something similar. Once you see a car, you can make a similar car. It won't be as good as an engineer, but you could make something that works the same, practically. Just how the hell does it really work? We'll leave that for version 2 and 3. And that's, it's what you'd want to do. That's why, and like, this is the first time I ever thought, okay, he does actually know what tricorder is, he knows what a phaser is, he's had all this stuff, he has a confidence that he should do.
My main question is, why did he steal Worf's knife? Are you going to invent a new knife? A Klingon knife? It just seemed like an odd thing to have in the tray. That could have been a souvenir, I guess, but...
well, especially as, again, if we assume he's from post-NX, then Klingon knives are around. My question is, how would Geordi not notice his second visor being missing? How many visors does he have? He could just go to his quarters and steal one.
That's the other thing. Like, replicate some stuff so it's not missing if you can use the replicators to do that, or replicate the schematics, or replicate the blueprint.
But that's having it physically take apart is so different to a blueprint, different. And replicating it, I don't think you can just replicate a standard tricorder as full pieces. Maybe components, and it did have a replicator signature in the computer saying, but Mr. whatever your name was, why did you replicate 4/5 of a tricorder? I mean, it makes more sense to steal props because they have 5,000 tricorders. Why did they miss one? It was just that so much was missing. It was the scope, not the piece themselves.
But at the end, when he's like talking to Data, and Data's like, "You're going to put these things in a museum," and then he goes and tells him his whole story. Like, don't do that. Don't admit things until you're
free and clear.
Yeah, like what?
Although he hasn't his time ship with a phaser. I mean, how much more free and clear? My only note. Well, and we'll get there, but I'll jump briefly, is that Data can literally snap his neck before he even realizes there is no threat there for Data, and he knows it. That's why he's playing it cool. But obviously this character doesn't know he's that fast. Why would he? So, okay, fine. Oh. But also, the way he holds his phaser, there's one moment when he holds the handle.
Yep, and he's reaching over to the thing and shows him the tricorder. It's like, yeah, I thought the same thing.
But it works, though, because he's confident in his own way, whereas Data is fully in control of the situation. And I'm sure they would brief him that if he did steal everything, we'll deactivate it, because that's an odd thing to be able to do anyway. But he must have been briefed with that. So it's a fun multi-level plan. And again, when you know every twist, you can see subtext for every twist as you go, which I appreciate. It's a well thought out piece because it's very simple. It is. It's a simple ABC, but within every single A and B, there's an A-1, A-2, B-1. So it's simple, and yet there's layers within layers. Yeah.
Like an onion.
Yes.
So you said you've watched this a lot over the years. Does this still hold up for you, or did you notice anything?
Well, 22nd century.
Well, yeah.
Cool. That.
Okay. But other than that, it's still enjoyable for you.
Yeah. Well, yeah, absolutely. And the HD was nice. Didn't add too much, but that's fine. There's two things that will always still stand out to me as interesting choices. One is the ease at which they believe him. Now, the evidence is relatively good, but it's all circumstantial. And it seems odd. There must have been a scene they cut for time where he proves it, because he even says later his credentials are proven, which they haven't been.
Yeah.
And time traveler is a time traveler. Time traveler could be anybody from anywhere. So I thought that was a little bit weak. How easy, but that said, I mean, if you are a professor in the future, it kind of sucks if everyone's mean to you, and if you're going to the enlightened people, a flagship who love time travel and love people. I mean, these are advanced people who would, want to trust and blah blah blah. So I can see some okay, fine, and then probably a scene in between, like something.
The other thing that threw me off was the fact that he just had access to the goddamn entire whole ship. He walks into Data's quarters without doing the chime.
That was yeah.
Door.
That's what.
He walks on the bridge just because.
Multiple times.
I mean, even if he had a security guard, one or two posted to him kind of throughout, that's what I would have done, having him on my ship. I don't care where he says he's from, just in case, So I thought that was odd.
But it's tricky because from his perspective, everyone here has been dead for centuries. So why would he hurt you because you're all?
But they run the suggestion by maybe he's an imposter. We've seen imposters before,
which luckily they do. Yes, they do talk about that.
So at least restrict him a little bit as far as wandering around the ship, being able to access any information, any part of the ship. Like he could be.
But arguably, but if he knows all the future, he already has all the information. Like if he's proven he's in the future, proven he knows things, then you're not denying him anything he knows. You're just slowing him down.
But if he's an imposter, like they suggest he might be, because I think Riker asked, "What if he's an imposter?"
But then Picard, that's the important moment. Picard jumps back to his credentials checked out. So whatever convinced them was convincing enough. We missed that scene, but Picard is very for him, and Picard would be the guy who would be ill-trusted.
Yeah, and during that scene, it's really cute because Beverly asks about the plague or whatever, and Picard gets this smile on his face, and then, right after that, Picard has another really interesting smile. Like he's kind of giddy about the situation. So
well, it's
interesting.
Well, it's archaeology, just the other way around.
Yeah.
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 And it is like walking into a museum. Like he's not going to damage anything, but it's a perspective thing. How would he want to be treated if he was back in Kirk's day? Would you expect him to have armed guards at all times? I don't know. No? I think
don't know.
We'd probably be a little bit insulted by that. It's like, dude, come on. I'm the flagship. Now, obviously, I would have preferred a line or two to explain we're gone under surveillance, but if he's under surveillance, he would be caught. So that's more of a conceit, because if he was under any surveillance, he wouldn't get away with it all. So.
Yeah. Matthew K puts in $5.
Thank you.
I wanted to say that I love this episode, although I just bought tickets to the London Air Show this August. Are you going, Cap? Probably. I do like the air show, but
yes, you do.
We'll see how it is. I didn't know they were on sale yet. So, where is this one here? Dan23. How did they deactivate a weapon then? What?
Easy, dampening field.
Yeah, once the door opened, everything was rendered.
And besides, everything has
even Worf's knife, the little prongs wouldn't pop out.
I mean, they all would have some sort of kill switch inbuilt. Why wouldn't they? Some fry switch for just sort of equation. So, I mean, I do think
like your phone. If your phone gets stolen, you can You
blow
can
it
wipe
up,
it remotely.
make it explode.
No, you can wipe everything off of it remotely.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah,
but it definitely is. It definitely is. There's a few small things, but it's definitely a like two small conceits. Everything else flows so well, you know, because he can't
yeah,
be if he's clever enough to successfully beat being tailed. That ends the story. Because he can't be that smart as he can't be taken out at the end. It's like I was almost wondering when he steals the tricord next to Data, you'd think Data would be cognizant to see everything in the room to
his
notice.
peripheral vision.
Yeah.
Yep, I thought the same thing because it's within his sight. It clearly is.
Yeah, so that was definitely. These are very, very minor. I was also surprised how, in theory, we don't care about this planet at all, right? Because we know it's not going to ever come back again. The people aren't given much flexibility. There's nothing built there, but because they commit so much real time to it, you are really invested. You are like you do care. The old guy's good. You feel good satisfaction at the end. It's a good balance because they have to fully commit to the B plot, which is in itself the A plot, to let the B plot, which is in itself the A plot, feel full. If it was all about this guy walking around, the threat wouldn't feel enough to have the payoffs. So it's a hard thing. I'm sure it was really the edit that made this work,
Yeah.
like that balance of getting it all together. And I commend them for that.
Hellrats96, $5. Hey guys, so if you
Hellrats.
had your chance at stealing future tech from TNG, what would be your number one? A replicator, kind of big though. As for small things, probably a phaser. If I could only steal one thing, it'd be a phaser. Weapons sell. So.
Yeah, I'd probably do phaser or tricorder.
Com badge.
Yeah, but that's super two-way. It's tricky. Can't really. There are literally like a billion good, interesting things.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Dave Stelzer, $2.
Dave!
Supposedly, this was written for Robin Williams. Yes, that was the original intent, which would have been interesting for sure. But
Whole different energy.
yeah,
I don't.
I think the star power would have ruined it too. Like, yeah, this guy's well known. He's been in like 140 things or whatever, and well known for Max Headroom, but it's still not the gravitas of Robin Williams. You know, like originally they wanted, or Eddie Murphy wanted to be in Star Trek 4.
Mm-hmm.
That would have totally ruined that movie, regardless of what they did with his character, I think. So
yeah, I think this guy has the balance of you know him, but he takes on the personality of the character so well. And Robin Williams would have been more funny.
he would have been improvising the whole time.
Oh, good. Oh, yeah, that's not good. You don't improvise in sci-fi. Ooh.
No.
Ooh. But no, it's good. It's good. It's a balanced episode. Oh, the other thing I have slight issue with this time round, and as we've said multiple times, the arguments for and against certain things are dependent on the situation. Sometimes Picard says, think for yourself, don't just follow orders. Sometimes he says, follow orders because the duty is follow orders blindly. And he argued both in like 4 episodes. And it was like, but,
Oh, and then in this one, he's like, yeah, the Prime Directive is important. I tend to break it. So if you have one, you can break it too. What? That was kind of un-Picard-like, that whole conversation. It kind of teetered on the line of, okay, that's Picard. Oh, wait a minute. No, it's not.
No, exactly, because he's basically saying screw the foundation of the way you live your life, because I want
your
to
timeline
and your entire timeline. Screw the entire future and the trillions of people, because I want to save 20 million that may or may not die. He has no right to ask this. And how many times has he said, we can't help these people because X, Y, and Z?
Yep.
And this is no offense. It's just for 20 million on a random colony. This isn't anyone particularly special. And there is also a way of potentially solving them. But because he has to be the speech guy, or it's obviously Patrick and this guy episode, there has to be a devil's advocate. But the way he sells it, he would never sell that in lots of other ways. Now Janeway I could buy because she's more about the ends justify the means. But Picard saying screw Temple Plan Directive. I mean, I really like how the other character defends himself very gently, yes. Like to the point where you buy him, even though he's keeping himself from, like he's protecting his ass, but it's exactly how he would act. It's like, mate,
yeah, He knew exactly what to say, and even at the end, where he's like, after he said everything, "Don't ask me. I'm sorry."
Yeah.
Like, it was so well done. Yeah.
It's just, yeah, it was definitely an odd Picard speech. It was fun to watch, but the same argument could be the Prime Directive on how many times you've let people die because of Prime Directive. You just made the same argument. Who cares about the future? Who cares about the repercussions? Save lives. That's the important thing. It's like, but did you? It's
and
should have been Riker. Riker would have been better with that speech.
Yes.
That fits Riker's personality more.
Somebody more emotional. Somebody not as in check as Picard.
Yeah, Riker's more about screw the rules.
Bryce brings up a good point that I thought too. Why didn't he just ask for samples of the ancient tech for museum? Idiot. My thought on that was they would say, okay, probably, but we're probably going to make sure it's deactivated first. Sure, you can have it, but I know it's the future that you're taking it to, but as per Starfleet regs, we can't be giving out our equipment. So we'll give you one, but it won't be functional or something. That's what I thought.
And briefly also Bryce says, taking a tricorder back too far in time and trying to copy it would be like trying to take a laptop back to 1812 and 21 and then trying to take back engineer to copy it. Yes, but if you take a Samsung Galaxy S21 back to a flip phone, they'll understand most pieces of it, just not how you did it.
Yeah, they'll understand where it's from here to where it's supposed to go, and they'll get the idea to where to go.
And they'll say, oh, that's how you do screens. I get it. And they'll make a jump instantly, because it isn't that drastic. They still had phasers, they still had phase cannons. This is NX or pre. Earth is not, they still had, lots of stuff. It feels from the 21st century now, yes. But no, that's not a, once you have warp, doesn't matter how future warp you give them, you'll understand warp. As long as it's the warp drive, doesn't matter when in the timeline. If you gave a warp 9 engine to Cochrane, he'll be able to make a warp 5 engine much quicker. He'll be able to figure it out. It doesn't matter. Once you get the principle down, if you gave, at least that's what I think.
And Trout Bum Wombat makes a good point as well. He did ask Beverly for the neurostimulator too. So he did ask for a piece of equipment that he actually took out of sickbay. So again, it's not an important piece. It's like, can I have the newest scalpel there? Because it's cool. Thanks.
And I love the psychology there, because the way he misdirects in every single scene, to then you're thinking, oh, he's going to walk away with the thingy-mabobby, she's going to forget about it. But by actively showing it to her at the end, he's showing his confidence of, oh yeah, I was always going to take it. And so she's not thinking he stole it, she's thinking, oh yeah, he took it. But he's just chilling with it. So I like that side thing.
And Ed Fleming makes another great point. Spock fixed a tricorder with vacuum tubes in the City on the Edge of Forever. Took a shit ton of circuits and vacuum tubes, but it was big, but he did it. He could make it work.
Well, they also made transparent aluminum in the 80s.
Yeah. Yes.
In a day.
No, they didn't. He gave him the formula for it. It will take years to understand the dynamics of this matrix.
Okay, true.
But they give him the thick stuff. That they slide in.
True.
So,
but he still understood it mostly. But you're right. I was thinking of the other thing.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's. Oh.
And last note, just about I would have absolutely have said to hide it. Can I take a few trinkets back? It's not quite the same as replicating our own.
Yeah. Can you sign it, Captain Picard, please?
That would have been fun. Yeah. There's definitely, or he walks into his ready room with a plaque. It's got a tricorder or a comm badge. He's like, can you just sign this? And it's just like, and he's like, oh my god! And he shows like one of the extras, like, look, I got Captain Picard's signature. And I was like, that would have added more flair to it, but that's the comedic side of it. But it's like, once you're already that far ahead in the scam, adding more nuance and more lies, more complex. Because he actually simplified his scam as he went on. He stopped at a certain point, and yeah. I appreciate.
One thing that's not explained too is, like, did he plan on meeting the Enterprise, the flagship? Like, he knew about them. He knew, so he had to do some research.
No, he didn't. If you watch it, what does he say when he beams aboard? Stories of the 1701D. That's on the hull.
I know.
Okay,
but he does know enough about them during the course of the episode, whether he learned it there or not. But he seems to know what the hell he's doing at least.
Well, that's after he gets to the quarters with Data, because obviously he's introduced to everybody once he gets there. Goes to the quarters, then the next day he knows how to use isolated chips, he knows how to use all this stuff. So yeah, that's how he does research that night for sure. But I love how if you assume he's not necessarily by accident, but he's like finding the nearest ship, etc., etc., everything he says is so vague, but feels confident. And yet he's like, hey, person, you're famous. Because it's ego, isn't it?
Oh, fuck up, crewman. You're just whatever to that uniform. It's like,
yeah.
wow.
No, it's like I say, it works super well both ways because it's so ambiguous, but the acting does come through as like he's grifting.
Yep.
There we go.
Well, let's get into it because we've had a great discussion so far about this in the episode. So they arrive at this colony, which had an asteroid impact, so all of the atmosphere is basically making the planet colder and colder and colder. Tropical zones are freezing. Yeah, they need to go help. One thing that I noticed too, and I've noticed this a few times leading up to here, is that door in engineering is a turbo lift until the door in engineering is not a turbo lift anymore. Later seasons, it becomes a
Jeffrey's
actual
tube.
room, and there's a Jeffrey's tube thing, but it's been a turbo lift a few times. Just saying.
That's true. Yeah.
Anyway.
Well said.
So yeah, we pick up a temporal distortion, and they go back to take a look at it. And
I like the would 1 hour affect our save the entire planet. It's like, no?
well, I like when Riker walks on the bridge too. Picard's like, let's take a look at Mr. Worf's distortion. And Riker's like, what? Mr. Worf's what? I'm missing a conversation here.
Which I like. Riker is always behind this episode.
Yeah.
Always behind. They won't let you forget about it in his vibe.
Hellrats 96, $5.
Thank you.
Speaking of bird of praise, Commander, has anyone ever animated a Burrell landing with the gear shown exiting the hull in detail?
There are stills. I have done a bird of prey landing, but not the actual landing bit, just the visual of I think I hit it. I haven't got any landing legs, but you can see it in the bird of prey book, how it looks landed. And obviously, pretty damn detailed in Star Trek 3 because they built a part of it. But also specifically, it's not particularly rocket science. I think
As I recall, though, there's nowhere for those landing gear to go.
That's the other thing.
With the interior of the ship.
Yeah.
So, especially with whales in there.
12 officers and men, and whales, and landing legs. It's like, nope. Krug, you can't count. You meant 400 men and a lot of whale room.
Maybe they just materialize. Maybe they have them stored in a transport buffer.
I know. That's
They
always
just
the
materialize the landing gear as they're coming down.
thing. Is that's such the answer, but it's such a cop out.
I know.
It's such the answer though.
It's like a bag of holding that can hold like everything in your inventory, and it's only like this big.
Mary Poppins bag is the reason bird of prey can land.
There you go.
So a ship appears.
Yeah, funky little design.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good little travel pod.
Looks like my front staircase leading to the house. 5 meters in length, and they can't scan inside it. They can't penetrate the hull. So, but they got a response to their hail, and they want us to move over. The Enterprise isn't going anywhere. No, you sir. What? And he wanders back. It's like, is that the only place he could beam? Like, seriously? I guess he might not understand how the tech works, so he can't really select. But, or he was just showing off. One or the other.
Well, I mean, the questions of why, apart from it's a funny moment, I think it's a combination of power play. Because it implies that you know what you're doing, because you can pinpoint the exact spot where you're beaming, and through their shields. I doubt they're at green alert or standard.
Well, they're not at yellow alert or red alert, so chances that the shields are up are very low. They're just investigating a thing right now. There's no order for shields up.
Seems like bad captioning to not have shields next to a time traveling pod, but okay. Otherwise, that'd be a cool thing to have it do. But I guess just more power play of like, hey. Now it would have been nice if they Worf brought his phaser up. There's a certain lack of concern here. Now, to be fair,
he doesn't have a phaser right now.
But beamed on board the bridge of the flagship without warning or permission. I mean, that's at least an intruder. And who knows what he's got? He could have a weapon and he could have knives in his hands. He could be Wolverine. So it would have been nice for a little bit, but I mean, it's. But look, he doesn't look dangerous. Looks nice enough. He's like, hello, and He starts
Carrying-
his graft.
Carrying a bag over his shoulder that's big enough to house a bomb or two. You know. I don't know.
But I guess they did. I mean, they did see a time signature, so they know it's not an average person. You could argue that as well, I suppose.
Yeah. But he says he's from 300 years in the future, the 26th century, and says, "Ooh, the Enterprise 1701D." Everybody knows the stories about this ship.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And in theory, if he is post NX-01, he would actually have the confidence to say Enterprise is famous. Because if this
Except
is...
Enterprise doesn't exist in this.
Well, Max could tell you it does. So there is... So I appreciate a certain level of confidence there. That it's like, oh yeah, Enterprise.
But yeah. Then we get the nice ready room scene where he's like snooping around the ready room. And we find out that he's actually, well, he says his focus is 22nd century to 24th century history. Interstellar history. So early interstellar history. The whole thing about, hey, mate, according to everything, this book was supposed to be on your desk, but don't move it on my account. And then Picard's like, the layout of my ready room? What?
I'm just this guy, you know?
I got a really good facial expression of Picard, like, what? Yeah.
Which is nice.
And then
I appreciate how humble he is. Like, he doesn't feel
Yeah.
like he's acting humble at any point. He's like legitimately like, what? Which I like.
Yeah. And then he points at the painting and says, this is the original. And I'm like, okay, are you talking about that's the Galaxy? Because of the Galaxy class? Or this is the original painting of whatever? Because it could be both. It could be interpreted both ways. Because it's bad luck to have a picture of your own ship on your ship, but the class ship is always present. So that might not be the Enterprise in that painting. And it shouldn't be. It should be the Galaxy class, or the Galaxy. Anywho.
I just thought it the original painting. I like the book gag because it would look so stupid on his desk. It's a massive freaking book. It's a stupid comment, but that's why he keeps throwing stuff out, and I love he has so many lines of dialogue, and you can tell they're just to keep you not thinking, to keep you overloading information.
And he strokes Picard's ego a little bit here.
Yes, a little bit. That's
Why
the
are
whole
you
scene.
here? But imagine if I told a young Julius Caesar, and Picard gets a smile on his face.
Oh yes, he does. He is gently thrilled with this.
Yeah. Or told Lincoln not to go to the theater. Kind of changing gears there, but hey. Yeah, so yeah, definitely kind of building up Picard. I think that's one of the reasons that in the next scene with the briefing room, Picard's kind of like, hey, I like this guy,
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, well, it's one of the simplest tricks, confidence trick. He gained his confidence by playing his cards. I mean, Picard knows deep down he got command of the flag of the Federation. He's done more than many officers and purely jealous of him, but he has to be casual about that.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got an entire maneuver named after him. He knows he's that guy, And so being actually recognised by it, and in the context of that much in the future, I think he's just enjoying the, yeah, I'm allowed to enjoy this for a minute. And I mean, hey, he presumably showed me some sort of time paper that says I'm legit.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's good. It's a good scene because you as the audience are also left thinking, this is nice. It's nice to tell Picard he's great, because we as the audience, even though we're in the past, we're also we're outside the time of the show. And we also think he's great too. So it's kind of you the audience are on this journey with these characters, even though the journey is completely opposite the way around. It's nice.
Yeah. Then we get the briefing room scene. They're asking why today. And is he sure got the right day? And he's like, yeah, I got the right day. Ask Worf if he usually sits on that side of the table. But anyway, yeah, Riker asked the obvious question. Since when have historians been using time travel as tools? He's like, oh, well, I can't answer that. Which perks up Beverly and is like, what about the Tellurian flu or the Tellurian plague?
I wonder why that one in particular, of all the things, that one in particular.
It could be like cancer.
Yeah, I assume it's something that big.
Because that's what I would ask somebody who's in future. Has cancer been cured? Like, that's just one of those things that they've been working on forever. So that's what I assumed here.
So how many world wars are we up to?
Let's see. Hold on.
What number DY? How are we up to?
We're on war 303A.
Oh, the Time War. No, it's a good scene because it's really impressive that this guy can successfully play with all of the biggest boys on the ship, boys and girls. I mean, this doesn't happen. It's just like Roger Danar being able to actively win against the Enterprise. This guy's actively convincing everybody. Maybe not everyone likes him, and that's a very different line, but everyone does believe him, because until you show something negative, I mean, he's done everything right. Yeah. And even, Deanna, who her spidey sense just is hiding something, but the caveat is, yes, everything! He's from the future! He has to hide everything! So, and obviously Worf plays it a little bit aggressive, but like you said, they're giving him free run on the ship, which they shouldn't be doing, but,
Maybe why Worf's so pissed off here, because Picard had just said, we're going to give him free run of the ship before the cameras came into the room.
Yeah, exactly.
That's something that would piss Worf off, for sure.
Yep.
This is also where he says, I got questionnaires for you guys. If anything seems, just check with your captain. And then Forge is like, so if I get my assignment done on time, can I get a glimpse into next week's poker game?
And I love the fact that the guy's like, is that funny? Everyone laughs. It is funny, yeah! Okay. I don't know who you are, so yeah. It's that little bit of... Because he's very on the ball, but you can always see his moment of hesitation before he commits to an action that could let him seem out of place. It's very good. Yeah. It's very, very nuanced.
And they also lay out the evidence. Once he leaves the room, because
Data
takes him to his quarters, Riker says, what if he's an imposter? God knows we've seen enough of them. And then he says, Picard's like, well, he's human. His medical scans have proven that. Right, Doctor? Yes. And the temporal distortion back there, correct, Worf? Yep. And no one can deny that his ship is unlike anything we've ever seen. It's got a hull made of plasticized titanium mesh, which until now we've never seen. So yes, everything is like evidence. But I still think it's a little premature, especially for Picard.
Circumstantial.
Yeah. I think Picard is kind of clouded by his love of history and the conversation they just had in the ready room.
Well, because he is a historian.
Yeah.
This is his sort of person. Now, it would have been nice if there'd been a bonus scene where he had said, oh, I had actually gone to the 25th century at one point. I did see your file, Picard. To actually put in some lines of knowing him. That thing would have amped up. Even if, first time I ever used a time pod, I did manage to go with the future. I was there for 44 minutes. But you were you had a statue, so I knew your name. So then he can focus on that. That's a lot of exposition to give for no real reason. But it would have helped, I think.
Picard does say here, I've examined his credentials.
See?
And everything seems in order. So I think we should extend him every courtesy.
It's something we're missing. And because of things like I said, he brought this box thing, which never comes back ever again. I'm assuming he has a sci-fi certificate showing the name. No, I'm serious. Showing the name, his little, ID.
His time travel credentials for the real guy.
Yeah, for the real guy. And it's scan it, and it bleeps, and it gives him permission. Especially since we know they have time travel in the Federation at that point. There's no reason to think he's not a Federation version as well. I mean, that's the thing. It's something as simple as a legitimate thing that once you scan it, it just bleeps and the computer's approved. And it's like, what? It's like, yeah, time approved. Yeah. There's one missing link there, for sure.
Yeah. 48 likes, though, guys, with 70 people here. Guys, hit that like button. Let's get up to at least 50. That's 2 more. That's easy. But let's aim for 75 if we can. But at least get those 2 more.
My only double question, also, this is because it's funner, but the chances of him appearing on a day of interest is very small. It would have been great to see him on a non-day. How would... I mean, he didn't know anything was happening as he went, but just to see a plain day, because surely if everyone was bored, they would focus on him more. The fact they're so busy helps him drastically. Everyone's so busy and thinking. Mm-hmm. How would he have played differently if it was just an average day rather than a really not day, Because he couldn't have known when he was there. It was a pure coincidence, but, time travel.
Yeah. Well, so that's the thing. I don't know if he specifically picked the ship or this area, whatever, or if the ship just randomly did its thing because it leaves at a specific time. So it's like a preset, like.
And that was auto, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my assumption is there's two ways of that. One, the time drive had to recharge, and so the minimum he can be there is like 24 hours, which is the implication of a certain amount of time. B, the dude who was the main pilot always had I should only say in the past to minimize, science in the future tells us that being in the past less than a day minimizes ripples. Okay, I can buy that, and that's obviously they're trying to cause ripples, but that's whatever. But I'm assuming that he would have had to fly it, but also some level of database on the ship. He probably said, let's try 24 or 23, 65, and, scrolling up and down the list of famous things. Space Google, most famous ship, 2384, Enterprise, go. Because he's come from Earth, so it's a Red Angel suit level technology. It can go anywhere.
Why not go there and get the Red Angel suit? Then you got another time travel backup plan. That would seem like a pretty important place to go and get tech from, don't you think?
Because it was classified, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's also another dimension.
So yeah, I think he just did a keyword search of like important and ships, and obviously it was able to go there.
Maybe could be.
Yeah.
So he's talking to Data about it's a pleasure to meet you because you're like the first car model essentially. Yeah. Well, more like the Model A.
Which is a great back and forth, especially when we know in Picard he does become the baseline. So
yeah. And he's happy with his quarters, a little bit smaller than he expected, but whatever.
Which is such a non-line. It's just him making conversation to confuse.
Yeah.
Although, boy, the dry my hands is such an odd characterization. I don't really know why it makes him look like a douchebag, which is not the rest of the episode, really. Like, not to this level.
Because Data's an artificial entity. I don't know if he just has the mindset of it's a tool.
A service android.
Yeah, a servant, essentially, yeah.
Yeah. But, I mean, we didn't have those in the past, so I don't know where he's getting that from. And he doesn't know who he is necessarily yet, so... I get maybe he's just testing. Maybe he's trying to prove if he can make him or prove his status. It just the way he's acting, it seems odd.
It's kind of a power play.
I think it is. Yeah. Well, especially his Data's like, so, am I still alive? And the guy's like, questions aren't good. No questions from you. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
It's like the most shut down the most shut down he is in the entire episode is this moment. But I think this is the moment he's like, right, I've made the scam. I'm in the inner sanctum. Once he leaves, I can relax. I can get dinner. I can research for the next 10 hours. He could screw this up. Get out! So it kind of plays a little bit odd, but I think, like, he's right there. Get out! I don't know. But it's a weird moment, which I like. It's weird.
Yeah. Then we get the planet, and they're talking about the pockets of carbon dioxide that they're going to surgically phaser drill to release carbon dioxide to create an artificial greenhouse effect that'll lock in the heat of the sun and kind of fix the situation. So it's a good explanation. It's a good science explanation. Would probably work, I guess, in real life. But this is Starfleet doing Starfleet things. Mm-hmm. And again, the procedural part of this is pretty cool. Some of the best episodes have this kind of stuff in them for me, so I love it.
And it's a good little, it works well, and I like their little set. They have a lot of LCARs, which always helps. I like the map painting as well because the digital snow layer is so just pasted on. It's a little bit laughable, but it just works because it's a good map painting. So it's a cheap TV, but over a map painting. But I like it. It's a good setup. It's a good build. It's I love when actors can commit because this doesn't matter at all.
Yeah.
But they sell it as it mattering. And LeVar always sells it. That's what I've come away with having rewatched TNG. LeVar is very good at selling everything he says. Just
yeah.
Quantum matrix vibration? Nope. You sold it. What is it? Don't know. Sold it. Very, very good.
Anyway, back aboard the ship, he comes into 10 forward, and I love how Riker and Worf are like, I hate questioners. And Beverly's like, oh, come sit with us. And they're like, oh.
And and Riker's remarkably aggressive in this episode. He's normally more like, Professor, hey, how you doing? Like, he's normally more friendly.
He's on alert, I guess.
Yeah.
But there's no real reason for why.
I think there's one more scene cut out where he says something that Riker didn't like, and he's like, "Oh, I'm on to you," like something rubbed up the wrong way because it's a little bit out of nowhere here. I mean, they're allowed to not like each other. You know, he even says,
Worf makes sense.
Worf makes sense because it's like with Deanna later. Like, do you not like me? I don't not like you. I just don't like you, which I think Riker's vibing here. But I think, but it's a fun little moment. Although I wonder what he researched to come here. Because if I was a guy like this, I wouldn't go to the most social hub where anyone could talk to me about anything. You know, I mean, he's obviously Mr. Confidence, but this is a bold
and even
play.
Beverly says everybody in the room is probably talking about you.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean, not everyone cares about the Temporal Prime Directive. They would walk up to you and say, "Is my great granddaughter doing well?" And he's like, "Ooh," you know what I mean? Like, he's ballsy. He's real ballsy. Maybe not so when staring at Worf, who's the first Klingon he's ever seen, probably. But it also makes sense because he's vibing the energy off him. So it doesn't. The red flags are just more contextual rather than deep, which I appreciate.
It's a pretty interesting conversation too. Like, I want these questionnaires by tomorrow. Why? What's tomorrow? Well, you know, people, they always record where people were when an event happened, but not an hour before, a day before, a week before. So I kind of like that. And Worf's like, is he implying something important is going to happen here? Oh, I can't really say. It's a great. Like, he plays the time traveler with all the knowledge very well. He plays like
he's
somebody
a
from
scam artist. He's a used car salesman to the nth degree. This guy could sell you water. Although I guess in America you guys do just drink bottled water. In England,
he could sell you air that you're breathing right now.
Yes. And 2008 Trojan says, it's been such a long time since I really enjoyed an episode. Glad he's in this one. Hey, yeah, you know, most episodes are medium to good. You know, not everything can be the best, otherwise there wouldn't be a scale of amazing.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I think I remember when I was younger, this line kind of concerned me, because Riker's like, how come we've never heard of you know, historians going back before? He's like, well, you know, we've always been very careful. We're here just jumping on the flagship and saying, hey guys, why does everybody die in 2 days? So it doesn't matter that you've shown yourself. It's kind of an odd. It's very subtle, but I remember being concerned at some point for this. But anyway, it's glazed over, kind of.
Well, he's got to have a reaction within like 1 second to not have. He can't be looking to think about it. I wish his answer was more. Oh, there have been. You've just never seen them. You've never noticed them. That's the right answer.
We have a neuralizer.
Well, yeah, but they blend in. You know, he would say, "Oh, there's actually 2 in Starfleet right now." So what? Yeah, I mean, we blend in. I'm just a maverick.
Yeah,
I'm just unusual. No, but it's great that the show's making us ask these questions, and his answer's appropriate still. You know, being careful. But you're right, and I like the fact that we know as the second watch that he's waiting for a ship to beam back. But I do like the idea of, yeah, if you are a time traveller who happens to be here to look at an event, you would be monitoring time at all times.
Yeah.
What if you know, okay, 1400 hours, you need to be on the bridge for the thing to happen? So actually, first watch, you're like, there's something happening. Which second time you don't get that tension at all. But the first time I think you would think, something is going to happen, and the fact that Riker goes straight to, well, what's going to happen? Because clearly, if you're the first historian to ever go back who've known, this must be a really important day. So I like the it means 2 things, but we led down one path first time, one path the other time. I really like that. It's well played.
And I'm curious of your opinion of this, but one thing I wish they would have done with the remaster of this is added something to that goddamn ring. He opens the ring and it's such a just painted on nothing. There's nothing. You could have added some kind of funky like even just some kind of like something cool, you know,
or something of any kind.
Because it's just nothing. You can see it's painted. It's really bad. Like, there's not even any lights in it. Just make those lights.
That is a very
Something.
well said. Yeah, it's beyond. I mean, I get that something that tiny to have any sort of electronics would be insane at the time.
Yeah, but I mean, in remastering, you can add that,
Remastering.
right?
Yeah.
That's what they did. They was TOS. They added like the one android that lifted his chest up. They added like a nice futuristic looking android thing in there. You know?
No,
Like,
I agree. It does. But that said, though, I mean, if you've got a clock, a watch, why would it have blinky, flashy lights? It's just a watch. It doesn't need to have all that stuff. If it's an everyday watch, which is the way he plays the scene, isn't it a bit futurist to say, oh, it must have flashing lights? Which is...
Well, it doesn't even have the time on it, though. Put a digital time on that little...
Well, no, it has time he can read. Space time.
It's like one of the... I have one of those watches that has like just the lines. You have to decipher what the time is. Kind of a pain in the ass. You can't just look at your watch and find...
I kind of wish it had the Star Trek 6 style, like just big red lettering that counts down. That'd have been fun. Like on the clock on the front of the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
Which I guess would be like kind of Predator text. No, I do agree with you. It should have had a bit more vavaboom. It's a bit underwhelming. But if you look at his clothing, he's muted colours. He's he's not trying to be flashy. So I can't. Yeah. It's consistent with the vibe he's trying to give off. And as with all these things, it would be giving away future tech if someone looked in his watch, his casual everyday watch, and saw magic science, which might affect the future. If it's just a bland watch that he can see, possibly you could argue if this was mega future that he's got some optical implants in his eyes that see into it, so he doesn't need to have a physical representation of the time. He's seeing it via his vision.
Gareth Rooney though throws in €5.
Thank you.
I wonder, when do the Temporal Integrity Commission step in to stop obvious violations? And who takes the lead, 29th century relativity or 31st century Daniels?
Yep. The answer is yes. Well said. Now, I'm wondering, and it comes in later, but I want to bring it up now. Do you think Beverly is hot for him?
Yes.
Okay.
And there's definitely some flirty here. She did call him over. She had a big smile on her face when she was in the briefing room talking to him about the whatever. So yes, I get there's a sense of attraction there for sure. Yes.
Because it's well played. Because she doesn't ever ask for more information about the future, which is how you assume it's going to play. And we'll get to that other scene later on. But in this scene, she's overly enthusiastic.
Yes.
And it never comes back as a information payoff. I think I just find him very unattractive because of his hair and his balding head. So I'm just like, no, thank you. But
he's charming though.
Well, he's sometimes charming. Sometimes he's obnoxious. But it's not chemistry they gave him for that, for sure. But at least we don't see him hit on lots of people, which could have been another way of like getting information. He like tries it on with, So I'll get there, but it's almost another level. Although he asks an important question. Well, I appreciate the questionnaires. It sounds so in the past. Like at school, you do a questionnaire. It's a very retro way of saying it, which gives a hint to his past. But he asks them what he thinks are the most important discoveries in the last 200 years, which is his missing gap. Riker's answer, the warp coil, is odd, given they've had warp coils for over 200 years. We don't know that yet, but they have. And it's not the right... I mean, Riker knows about 100 years off, or 80 years off. And then Worf saying phaser...
Well, it's an estimation. It's not exact, It's just a... he was kind of caught on the spot as well. There's question.
But I wish he'd said high warp or something, a bit more technical. But Worf, phasers. Guns, basically. It's like, okay.
Yeah, and he's like, how delightfully primitive. See how this, everybody looks at things differently.
Didn't have to insult him, though. Like, he's the chief of security. He doesn't like you. Why are you insulting him to his face? Just to make yourself look good in front of Beverly, which doesn't work fully. So I thought it was a little bit unnecessary, but he's mostly very smart, but occasionally not as much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anywho, in engineering, they're talking about the sciencey stuff, the technobabbly stuff as to what they're doing mission-wise. And he comes in, hands them their questionnaires. He goes, because we're going to be busy for the next couple hours. Tomorrow would probably be better. Anyway,
And it's amazing how a time traveler is concerned about amount of time.
that's often the case though with even time travel games.
Yeah.
Because future, like even the Tomorrow War, I don't know if you've seen it yet on Netflix or whatever, or Prime. Anyway, the time's always marching forward, even in the future. So yes, you are limited. So
I would have loved a gag though. It's such a stupid gag, but I would have loved it if he and this is so irrelevant, but it would have been kind of funny if he walks out. So Data and the Forge are together doing their thing, change the scene after they're asking for the questions. He walks out, and then Geordie's to Data like, I mean, I guess he's all right, and he walks back in and says, "Oh, guys," and he's like, "Oh, you just left." No, this is me from 3 days from now. What? Yeah, I had to come back because you forgot to answer question 14B. What? Yeah,
make sure you add more detail.
Yeah,
and that would have tied in later with the maybe I should have limited you to 50,000 words to the Data thing.
Yeah, and so obviously he's just walked out the room and come back in, but it reinforces time travel power if he can just come back from the double future. Wouldn't that have been a great gag though?
That would have been awesome, actually. Yeah.
Or he does walk into a ship and just come back because it's just. I just think that would have been such a funny idea, because then running out of time is relative, and it would like it's a stupid gag, but it would have been funny. But Data very keen to help, and Geordie focuses on his work but still wants to help. Yeah, everyone is respectful and professional, and if this was a less busy day, it would have been more so. But I mean, if I like that as it goes on. Obviously, he's got a ticking clock and probably one chance to do this. Because it worked. Like he's in the inner sanctum. He might not do this again for the next few tries. So he is being a bit time sensitive, but I like his sort of balance here of time limit.
Yeah. And he asked Geordie about his visor. What's that called?
Yeah.
Oh, visor. Yeah. We don't explain what the acronym means, which is visual, whatever it is. I forget. But, and I have a picture of you wearing that in my office. He says
that I thought was. That was a giveaway.
Yeah.
Stuart, who do you have in your office right now, picture wise? Right now, who do you have pictures of?
Betty Page.
Okay.
Xena.
Yep.
Cass TOS.
Yep. And you could name everything about all of them, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I study them.
Now I have a billion ships, not so many people, but to have the guy's picture and desk and not know what his visor is, the one special feature about him until the First Contact movies. If that's not my biggest giveaway possible.
I love how he also goes through blind people. Homer was blind, Milton, Bach, Monet, and Wonder, as in Stevie Wonder. Like, really?
Yeah. You can tell sometimes he's out of his depth and he just plays the wrong card, but he gets away with it. And I like that. It's good that he has mishaps, but I thought that was a bit too obvious. But he just doesn't know anything, or he doesn't know everything. Yeah.
And then he pockets the little pad, and Data could totally see that. But
I went more the other scene. This one. This one I'm slightly better with, but. And I don't know how you meant to feel in the first. I mean, what do you guys remember thinking when you first saw this? Is he a villain? Because the music they play is a little bit whatever and is a bit shifty, but I mean, they could be say temporal greater good element of he needs a pad secretly, and there could still be a rational reason for it. Like, what do you guys remember thinking, or were you onto him as being the baddie straight away? Do you remember? Because I don't. It's all.
There was something ominous about it, especially with the music.
Okay.
Great, and I didn't know, and that's what made this episode so good.
Okay.
Yeah. I do like what he says here, though. Who says these moments are any less exciting when you know the outcome? Data's like, I know no one that said that. He's like, yeah.
Which is great because he's just trying to confuse people, but he doesn't know Data's ability to be literal yet. So he's like, that didn't work, did it? Moving on. that ploy did not work.
Eugene, 1,000 rubles. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm always mixing the dust cloud in this episode with firestorms from Lessons. Very nice sci-fi-ish episode with a twist at the end. Yeah, this is a fantastic episode of Star Trek for sure.
And it would have worked in any of the shows. I would like to see an A version in every single show, how the cast would have reacted differently.
So down on the planet now, they're talking about the 20 different bore sites that they're going to be drilling through, and they're going to have monitoring stations all over, just monitoring things. So, Also, the phasers are going to be controlled by the computer and locked into different depth calculations to release the CO2. So it's all very technical stuff here.
And it's almost too much, but it's right on that edge.
Well, it definitely explains how they're doing it and what it's all about with the greenhouse effect and all that. And I think it's great. And then the phaser, like, actually down through the... It was really well done, I think.
I was surprised how small the phasers were, the beams. But I kind of like that. They felt pinpoint. Because these are... Ships are big. Phasers are big. But it's, yeah. And it's they don't always commit fully to the bit. And it's just unusual because it literally is just a day in the life of. But they do put a lot of time. But by having the guy walk on and live it, and obviously, come on, sitting in Riker's chair, which he has guessed is Riker's chair, I'm sure, and Riker's antagonism, and all power play when the other chair was right there.
He's so annoyed. He sits down and just look on Riker's face is like, and Picard likes this guy, so I can't even say anything. God damn it.
Yep. Everyone's smitten by his fancy hair. No, it's good. I even like the clearly real trees outside the window. I was wondering if it was like a matte painting originally, and I'm sure there is some level of that, but I like the, you know, because it's a clearly inexpensive episode, so they were to put a few very small bits of money into very small bits, and it's appreciated.
Yeah. So the temperature starts rising on the planet, and you're giving us what we need, time. And of course, he quotes that, "You've given us what we need, time." And he gives this little smile. He pretends to be in the know, and even later when he's like, "And Geordi stayed below," it's like, ooh, it's like an epic tale, but it's very imposing and ominous, so it works. But
not
it's annoying.
I think he's, I'm sure his audience, but his mannerisms do grade and great, and they're running thin, especially like they said, the Geordi on that line, Geordi down below. Like, though, at that point it's just obnoxious because he keeps trying his same tricks, but he's already got them, but he can't turn it off. He feels like he needs to keep needing to impress them, but he actually, if he was just simply there,
or he's just that eccentric. I mean,
yes, but that is true. If he was that, if he was fully real, he would just be himself. He'd be weird. I mean, like
inventors are kind of weird, and he is an inventor. So.
No, like I said to you at the start, if he wasn't stealing stuff, he would have won. Like, he would have caught. Like, no one caught on to him. He succeeded the entire episode. It's just his side effect of what he was doing. So yeah, absolutely.
I want to go back to the ring for just one quick second.
Sure.
Something said here. YJ Wrangler says maybe his watch doesn't even work. It could be that he's checking as it gets closer to the temporal time for the ship to leave. Maybe it activates as it gets closer, and by the intensity of the activation, he knows how long he has left. Maybe so. It's not anywhere near time to leave because it's dormant. I'd buy that, sure, but that's not explained. So boo.
Yeah.
Fix it.
Yeah, I could buy that. I mean, it needed at least one light.
Or it's the time charge recharge thing.
Yeah. But I do like the fact it's that small and that simple, though. Like, it just needs a screen, whatever. No, it's good. Then you have a graphic scene with the... I like that Beverly's talking to Deanna, and Deanna's like, I just don't... Something about him.
Yeah. Like he's trying to confuse us and misdirect us. Yeah, obviously.
Which, to be fair, a time traveler would also do.
Yep.
She's just confused in general. You can't win this one, Deanna. Sorry. Although I'm wondering if she's detecting, Beverly's reaction.
Smittenism.
Yeah. It's like, you're not going to win this battle, Deanna.
I hate how obnoxious he is, though. Buck up, crewman. You're a credit to that uniform. And the guy's like, thank you?
But I like his smile. He's like, oh, thanks. No one ever says that. No one ever says that to me. It's cute.
You're going to be a captain one day, is what I would say.
And dead. Oh, that leg wound was real bad. It's like, shit. Can't imagine that Beverly saying to him, you didn't know he was going to die, did you? I did. What? Okay, it's a bit dark. But I like he goes, a good con man goes straight to the punch and says, you don't like me. She's like, I don't dislike you. Which is a wonderful way of saying it, because if she's a real time traveler, then, But yeah, they just can't get on. Although I think there is some... He's obviously done research on her. You can tell he's now in the know with people. To know she's empathic. To know to look out for her. To know
Picard's empath. Picard's empath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're birds of a feather. We have this sense. It's a very logical thing to argue. And, but it's just, she's just like, yeah, but you're ugly and you smell and I don't like you. And it's like, okay, fine.
And your hair's screwed up.
Well, your hair's a wig, so...
Even when he talks to this kid, keep your eyes wide, soldier. You'll be telling your grandchildren how you were on Panthera 4. The whole time I'm thinking, no, he'll be telling his grandchildren. There was one time I was on an episode of TNG.
Yeah. Oh. And me and that medical nurse have reunions every 5 years. That was our scene.
Picard as a background extra that nobody cares about.
Yes. And I was on Trekyards one time. What? Yeah, I was at Vegas and they interviewed me. And then, now this is, I talk to me about your thoughts on this scene with Beverly. Give me your just blunt thoughts, because I don't know how I feel.
Well, he's obviously attracted to her.
Mm-hmm.
And she seems to be quite interested, like mildly interested. But she shuts him down as well, but in a flirty way. So she's playing hard to get. So I think she is interested, but I don't know what to tell you, man. It is a very flirty kind of scene, and it's done really well. He kind of he calls her curious woman, but not that you're strange, that you're curious about things. I love the way he kind of goes into it. But yeah, she's like, yeah, of course. Well, that's why we're all out here in space exploring. He describes her as vibrant. She's like, oh yeah, vibrant. Like he's trying, and it's almost like he's not failing necessarily, but not quite hitting the mark. I don't know. It's a nice scene. I think she does a fantastic job in this scene, and I love the way she interacts with him. But yeah, he's definitely trying to get something. I think.
Yeah, it's a confusing one because to get in her way is a creepy move, so that gives him that presence of creep. Okay, he's acting flirty, but Beverly's a strong enough woman to say no. She's not saying no in those intermediate steps, and she's not body languaging like I'm taken aback. She's responding in a like her her tone is good. There's a moment when she ducks under his arm, and then I expected her to say. I kind of thought she was going to say it. Instead, she uses the argument, I could be your great-great-grandmother, which is a great temporal argument. In fact, Bashir has the same thing, and he does kiss her or something. It's like, oh no. Or something. Because he finds her hot, and it's like, oh, whoops. Oh, I'll retract that statement. I was expecting her to say, when he's like, you're I've so many ladies and men and all the present, past, and future, but you are special. I thought she was gonna go under his arm and say, "I bet you said that to all the space girls in every timeline, or you got one girl in every era," like that sort of joke, to properly dismiss him, like, "Oh, you're just hitting on me like everybody else." But she has a more logical point, and she doesn't lose her vibe. But she comes off as like she's gonna say sarcastically a put off. So I don't know. The energy here is odd. He's being sort of a creep, but if the actors feel chemistry and they're kind of going for it, and then she's like, nah, but science. So I'm confused by what I'm meant to think here.
She's kind of hard to read here because she comes across as flirty, and she smiles at him as he's leaving and stuff. But at the same time, it's a let her smile.
Yeah,
it's like I would have a hard time reading the situation if I was him personally. Yep.
And her reading him is like, you're being too forceful. Please stop.
But not like women like confident men and whatever. So it's a fine line between being aggressive and confident. And
she's responded to all of his confidence previously because she's been like touchy feely in every other scene. Yeah, it's really tricky actually.
Yeah, so I don't know what women want. No man does.
Now I was still a little uncomfortable watching this scene, but less uncomfortable than watching the Blade Runner rape scene, which somehow got into Blade Runner 1. How did I think that was a good idea?
Hmm.
That's not a fun scene to watch. Why is that in that film? So, just saying.
Pagan 2917, 5 pounds. Hi, mate. Nice work in the ready room, dude.
I assume that's you because you actually got a ready room.
Yeah, I know. I'm thinking, who? Pagan sounds so familiar. Whose YouTube name is that? I'm sorry. I'm trying to remember who you are.
At least you got a very Canadian. I'm sorry. That was quite a good
I'm
accent.
sorry, eh? Sorry, eh?
Look, just offer him some moose milk and.
Come over for a shot of maple syrup.
Yes. The good stuff. You know, not the stuff you give tourists. The good stuff. The 110%.
Pagan, I know them, but I can't for the life of me remember who it is. But I recognize the name.
And not knowing, but knowing that you should know is half the battle. It's quarter of the battle. G.I.J. Anyway, so he leaves, has a quirky thing, and it's actually a nice little end to the scene. He just nicks it, but the way he does it so charming that she accepts it. Then the next scene, oh yeah, it's going bad, and I love the escalation of oh no, oh no, oh no,
Well,
oh no, oh no, oh shit. You feel the weight here, which I like.
Yeah. Just before that, though,
Okay.
Riker's talking about. He was asking me about all the previous Enterprises.
Yes.
And the advancements. I like that. That was a nice little touch.
Not about me, my life.
Yeah.
Anything I'm about. I was always about. But yeah, so another bit of a giveaway, but that's okay. I mean, you need those things, don't you?
Yeah, but this is where there's earthquakes, tectonic shifts, and volcanoes erupting. So yes, bad things are happening.
I love the build there. Because they've committed so much to the bit already, you're like, oh no, that has gone bad, and like real bad. Like this, we could have killed the world previously. It could kill the world again. Oh no, oh no.
I'm wondering why Riker's back at the science station though, monitoring the seismic activity.
Because he's sciencing. He
But
likes to
Data's
science.
right there.
Data's piloting the sciencing.
Usually Data's back there doing that stuff. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but it's good though. There's unusual energy here.
And that's what I mean. Everybody in this episode gets something to do.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
Kudos to them for that.
Yeah, but they cut down and say this is real bad. Because the CO2 was released, this could have saved the world, but we also caused a secondary thing, which actually makes the initial problem worse. So it doesn't matter what we did to solve it, we made the problem worse. And then I like this moment, even though it's obvious, beyond obvious, the fact that it's the procedural of, we don't know, come here Picard, look at this, oh, every single site of...
Everywhere we drilled.
Every calamity site was literally caused by a phaser beam, and Picard, the look on Picard's face and just the vibe was like 20 million. You just you feel weight on their shoulders. And I really appreciate that.
Yeah. The next scene is the Data's quarters.
Well, the breaking and entering.
Yeah, just opens the door, which kind of concerned me, but
like as he pressed it, I was waiting here. Like you don't. There's a door chime. Or it's like earlier in the scene when the guy actively walks to the door to get out of Picard's ready room, doesn't open. It's like these things did first, and that door's open all the time. These aren't open all the time. So I wish, but whatever. Small thing.
The whole music thing's great. I love how computer eliminate program 1, and he looks side eye at him. Eliminate program 2. Just the look that Data's giving him is great.
He's so disappointed. It's like, oh.
And by the way, remember when Data had a girlfriend and she brought him that wavy statue thing? It's there. It's where he originally put it, and she said, maybe you shouldn't put it there. It's still there. I was looking for it to see if they had continuity as far as that goes.
Fantastic.
And it is there, so that's good. Although there's a very decided lack of Sherlock Holmes stuff on that shelf. He doesn't have the hat. He just got the pipe.
Oh, it is. Yeah. I see it. That's great.
So.
Yeah. I like the scene because he knows he's won over Data, but asking for some again. He keeps using this hasn't survived into the future. You have time travel tech. This is not the moment you ask for the schematics of, why don't you go back and talk to him then? It's breaking apart as he goes because he keeps, he knows, okay, I can get a new phaser, tricorder, great. but he keeps finding new cool things. He keeps pushing his luck, and this is that. Schematics, you know, and you would think Data would be like, well, once I give the schematics to the future, I'm also giving my, you know, am I giving permission to make me in the future?
Well,
this is a big deal. You can't just give that, you know, think about repercussions.
You're getting some progression from him, like he's doing research. Because initially he's like,
100%.
oh, you're a robot. Here, dry my hands, like a servant.
Yeah.
And now he's like, probably read that the Measure of the Man court trial, like this, he's now a sentient being. Like this is something that I could really make a lot of money on. So it's like almost like he's learning about them as he's going. So I like that, actually.
Well, he's narrowing in, because the respect he shows him is 10 times more now. Because he wants something from him. He's a person beyond a person. No, it's very effective. But also, you know, he's now clearly read all their questionnaires. So he's now had targeted Q&A, targeted answers, and now he knows what he wants. Really, really what he wants. Yeah, it's very logical.
I do like it. It says maybe I should have limited you to 50,000 words or less. So, typical Data.
You get the sense he gave him one ice in their chip and he got 5 back. And he's like, but this holds... Oh, God, okay. Berg Stewart, I would like you to put in a super chat and like Spike Goal, because we've just been kind of reviewing it for a while. But that is part of this too, as you guys know.
We have 95 people here with
Fantastic.
76 likes. I think we can get 100 likes easily. So hit that like button. 100 is well within reach. As for super chats, they've been a little late.
But such a good episode as well, which I'm kind of sad about.
Another $50 would be great. And anything more than that would be fantastic as well.
Because what do you guys think? We want to know.
Yeah, this is one of the better episodes of Trek, I think. So, but yeah, he steals the tricorder right off the table. And I know Data's focused on the screen but I don't know. If you're going to steal a tricorder, don't steal it from the robot or the android with the perfect memory.
The guy that can analyze 150 songs at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's small. It's small. But you know, we're building here. We still don't know his motivation, but yeah. There is now Dodge. And what's the next scene?
Or where they're talking about the plan, and it might ionize the entire atmosphere if we do it. Yeah. But we could use the Enterprise as a lightning rod. Whatever. Yes. I don't understand how quite all that works.
It's the most TOS scene. It's this is this.
It could be like lighting a match in a room full of gas and just burn off the entire atmosphere and kill everybody. But hey, you want to try it? High energy plasma beam. That's it.
But it does feel like, you know, this is the all or nothing. The planet is now dying. We could burn it all to death or let it die.
There's really no choice. You have to at least try.
Well,
which makes the next scene kind of eh.
Well, there is a chance because, you know, burn the atmosphere, everyone dies today. We don't do anything.
Or evacuate people, yeah, I guess.
So there is, yeah. But I think they do say explicitly that because of the reaction, there's a certain time period where it'll be in the atmosphere where we can detonate it. That will diminish as time goes on. But it does escalate it right now to this is like beyond life and death. And then this scene is very odd, as it would have to be. You're asking a future time traveler to break all his principles and tell you the answer to a lottery. I mean,
I like Picard's reasoning here, though.
The start of the reasoning.
I have access to a knowledge that I don't normally have, so I'm at least going to ask. But then when he is resistant to it, Picard's like, yeah, I know we have the Prime Directive. I've broken it. I mean, hey, I don't care about your Prime Directive. You're going to break it because your past is my future, and I'm living in... Like, that's so un-Picard-like.
Yep.
It's so un-Starfleet. I didn't like that part of this conversation. It's so out of character for Picard.
Now, if this was a planet that he knows personally, that he has a massive connection to, then you can imagine his emotions are getting the best of him.
Meant to show his Earth.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely, Earth. Or Planet France. But it isn't...
Planet.
I don't know. Jean-Luc. The planet called Jean-Luc. But it's a nothing colony. Now, not to diminish those that live on there, but it's just another assignment for him. Now, yes, he values all life, but to go to ask the time traveler to break every rule, and, you know, he knows better. This might affect, you know, if he does know that people on this planet will cause problems later on, it's his duty not to do this. I do think everything he says in response to Picard is on the money, and his acting is very good, as you can tell, everything he says is a ambivalent reaction to Picard's very focused, and the guy's like, but what do you mean But what do you want from me? Like, make him be more specific because he doesn't want to, let his hand. But
Well,
yeah.
Lisa Jericho makes a good point. I took this scene as Picard testing him because right after this scene where they do the thing, they already know that shit's missing. They already suspect him because right after this, they go to the bridge and he leaves the bridge and then he looks at Worf like time to initiate the plan. So there's already suspicion on him. So maybe it is that, Lisa Jericho. Maybe you got that right. Because it is kind of un-Picard-like. So it makes sense in that regard because they obviously know something's going on at this point.
Well, they don't know. They suspect. Okay, yes. What's the test though? What is he testing him? What's the test?
Maybe just to see what his he answers the questions like a time traveler would.
Yes.
So maybe to see if he's got any kind of morality, like you would turn on his principles of time travel. Because somebody asked him, which wouldn't be very science-y of him. You know what I mean? So,
but then he passes the test.
This is reinforcing the good point and passing the test. Yeah. So I don't know.
Why would that justify him giving the nod? That's what I mean. If there's a test, what's the outcome? Potentially, Picard's asking for the cheat code. Oh, what?
Sorry, Pagan 2917, 5 pounds. I love this episode. Really good and clue to my identity, Norfolk. Yeah, it's my buddy Matt Toms, who we met at Birmingham.
Nice. There you go. Cool. No, because if he's trying to get the answer from him as a test to see will he get so say he gives an answer, if he gives the answer and it's wrong, he's clearly a fake time traveler. But that bypasses. Well, are you going to listen to his advice? No, he's a fake time traveler. So I don't know what the test is. I can't imagine that's really the reason. I think everything combined. I think it's not so much a test, so much as Picard doesn't like him after this. He wants him to work with him. He wants him to break his principles to save lives, which is very anti-Picard. But in this moment, he wants him to be the bigger man. And so as soon as he chooses principles over Picard, he's going to say, you know what, I'm gonna choose my principles over my likeness of him, which is very antithetical to Picard, but it is a weird situation. So maybe, because how would you feel if somebody came to you and said, well, I know what you're going to earn this year. Oh, can I buy a house? Maybe. How popular will be Trekyards be next year, and how much work you put in depends. It's frustrating, but he absolutely argues for go against all of your principles, go against your, and Picard said no to this exact argument a dozen times already in this show for the Prime Directive. This needed to have been Picard and Riker. Picard needed to have said, we have some issues, Riker, and Riker goes on tirade. The chap defends it, and Picard says, you know what? I've made up my mind, I'm doing it.
This is a Space Seed moment. This is a Kirk, Spock, and Khan moment. Picard should be sitting there, Riker should be asking these questions, and Picard's just observing the reactions.
Yep.
That's what should have happened here. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. No, and what do you guys think? Do you think it's a test? Because I just don't see how it's a test.
Well, Jericho says Picard was checking if he was lying. You can tell something is off with him.
But is there, though?
Perhaps.
He responds perfectly.
After this, yeah, exactly. He's exactly like a professor from the future would act, in my opinion.
Because I genuinely do think, and you tell me if you think I'm right or not, I think when Picard is because he's very, he's going from the captain role into the passionate human to human. And this con guy is not used to real interaction on this level. And so when he says, I'm sorry, I can't help, I think he's genuinely thinking, I'm actually sorry, I don't know the answer. I'm sorry, yes, I can't help you save lives. He does break the veneer.
I would have, if I would have known, I would have told you kind of thing at this point. Yeah.
The vibe I got.
That.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which obviously Picard's reading as he's genuinely sorry just for the other thing.
I didn't think that, but I absolutely agree with you. So thank you for bringing that up because that's actually a really good point.
Yeah, I've always got that from that because it's such a passionate, but both players are playing the roles they have to play, and there's no deviation from the scene that it can be here, but both are sorry in their own way, and that's why Picard when he walks out, I almost wish at the end, he had said, Picard had said, this okay now I know what I'm gonna do, or something you'd said, I wish it almost said you gave him the idea because you didn't tell me. He more just says, because you don't tell me, I have to make my own mind up. It's what we would do anyway. which was a bit more of a fun like twist there. Like, oh, you did tell me something. Mwahaha. You know, you gave me a hint. Not quite, but it kind of plays that way, but without really having a hint. I don't know. I like it.
Yeah, no, it's a great scene. Both actors do a fantastic job with this. It just seems very Picard-like, but it could be on purpose. So.
Oh, I do kind of wish, as I was looking at the fish scene with pointing at the fish, I wish he said, "Oh, the history book said different fish." Sorry, not important. Continue. I wish he'd done a fish joke. Just.
Yeah.
He always said you had a coral fish, instead you've got a, you know.
Lionfish.
Yeah, stupid non-joke, but yeah. But yeah, onto the bridge. We've now got...
They also mentioned Khan in this scene, by the way, and Hitler.
Yes.
Somebody on that planet could be... Yeah, it's a question been raised from...
Yes.
It's the worst wormholes were found.
Which is odd... That's an odd reference. Yeah, right. straight to Hitler. Have you heard
Hitler? And
Hitler?
then Khan. Like, those are the two worst, I guess.
Have you heard Hitler before in Star Trek? Like, recently? It feels like, ooh, okay.
Yeah, I don't even think they say the name Hitler in the Patterns of Force TOS episode.
But anyway. They argue it so well, because yes, he does know what happens, and as he points out, well, you guys are all long dead to me. Like, even if I wanted to help, it's like going back in. It's like if you could go into a... Well, it's a holodeck, isn't it? In essence, I'm not here to change this. Therefore, this is it. I'm going back and looking at you. You know, I wish he'd said... I mean, if he'd done research, I wish he'd said, Picard, it's like a holodeck. You guys are like a living holodeck. I'm not here to change the program.
It just has to play out.
Just has to play out, yeah.
And I can't get out until it does. As happens quite often.
Have you met Seska? This is like the Seska episode. What?
It's been a while since a holodeck episode, though. Damn.
It has. That's true. But speaking of holodeck episode, not at all. We get a brand new turn of the Enterprise. Looks good. Pretty fast considering. And all or nothing, let's do it. Do you want to beam up? Because, you could die. No, you know what? I'm going to stay. And then the very unneeded line of, yeah, well, the computer could do it just as well. And Daya's like, yeah, but he can anticipate the human factor. It's nice.
Geordi stayed below.
Don't like that line, but I think he's kind of... I mean, you've got to imagine that the guy is thinking, if even at this point being challenged, point blank, help me or else, and he gets away with it, he's probably thinking, I can say whatever I want now. He's, I've got him convinced, and so he can kind of be as quick as he wants. Is the vibe I get there.
So anyway, they try it. They do a deflector thing. Mm-hmm. It basically looks like it burns up the planet, but then the blue, and then the blue Enterprise for some it's what anyway, and then the Enterprise turns, and it's a really cool scene. It looks really good, I gotta say. But what?
Well, it's obvious.
Yeah. Everything except it coming off the surface of the planet back to the ship, which makes no sense.
Well, no, they ignite the plasma. They magnetically pull the plasma based on charged particles, charge and non-charge. So it's a magnet, and then it hits the shields, which are charged, and then it uses the shields and deflectors to re-shoot it out. I mean, it's just magnets. They're just pulling the particles. It's good.
Okay.
My only issue though is that they literally fix the entire planet to the point it's now beautiful and green and beautiful. It's like, this was frosted 1 minute ago, and it was dying even... I just thought that was a bit obnoxious to have a beautiful green planet for the rest of the sequence.
It still would have been melted because the volcanoes were throwing off ash and creating, heat.
Oh, I suppose.
And it was being trapped in.
And they did just burn... No. They didn't do that. They said it was because the sun couldn't get in there. The plan didn't work. But they also just burned the atmosphere. So that I can buy, maybe, if they burned all the snow in that in 30 seconds.
I just hope everyone was indoors.
Or got a tan, yeah. Well, it was high atmosphere. I just don't think it should be that green and beautiful. It seemed a bit abstract, for white to red to green. But yeah, and I also appreciate they do cut back to the time travel guy's reactions. You can tell, as the audience, he doesn't know what's happening. His nervousness of, if this doesn't go well, they're going to blame me.
Well, it could also destroy the ship.
Yeah, oh, sure.
Because it's using it as a lightning rod for all that energy.
That's true.
Shit.
But I like his, you can tell he's not confident at all. Now he's really in the situation. But I do think they blame him if it went wrong. He's thinking, whatever happens here, I'm probably screwed. Cross the fingers. Oh, God, it worked. Okay. Hey, Picard, look at you. It worked. Didn't need me at all, did you? Just need some new trousers, though. Can I get some new trousers? Cool.
I gotta go, though.
Yeah.
But then he goes out, and Picard gives Worf a little nod.
Reminds me of the... I don't need to talk to my crew to tell them what I want.
Yeah. I want a force field, these two people, which never happens ever before or after. What?
And I got such Relics vibes here until it goes wrong. It's like, hey, you all came to say goodbye. We didn't. Oh. Like, it's so friendly for 4 seconds, this is not. Oh, I know. Look, both the security guys are on one side. The 2 strongest guys are waiting there. Right there. Yeah, you try anything. Both of our big guns, while Riker stays behind the 5'3" Picard. Sorry. What happens to it?
Well, things have gone missing. We want to check your ship. And he's like, well, you can't. Sensitive equipment in there, I'll send data in, because if I give him an order not to say anything, look at the episode clues. He obviously won't until he does. But whatever. Anyway.
It's a great argument in theory, though. Like, and he thinks that on the spot. It's quite clever. Look, guys, we are still 12 likes away and at least $50 away, guys. So put in your thoughts and comments, and hopefully at the end we can have your end reviews. But still, at least 12 likes and at least $30. But I like the vibe here, because in theory, Picard doesn't want to be too disrespectful, because he could be... I don't think he's truly convinced at this point. It's just a logical, circumstantial situation.
And the thing is, the ship's going to disappear in 2 minutes. Like, I would be so on edge if I was this guy. It's like, just get the fuck out of here.
But he can't. But if he looks on edge, he'll look guilty. So the balance here is palpable. I do wish, though, that he'd said, you call me Picard. Oh, I'm also museum. Like, I wish he'd had one more lie. You don't need that, because we don't... Yeah, you didn't need that. I kind of wish he'd had, though. But it's okay.
Well, then we see all these stuff. So we got a visor, we got a medical scanner, we've got...
Although, briefly, he managed to reprogram successfully a 26th century ship to allow his handprint in. Like, this guy does know how to use this ship. Because to do that, it's quite impressive, considering. And I love the effect, because his hand's over it. Like, that's a full digital rotoscope. It's great. Sorry, yes. And what do you think of the interior of the... What do you think of the interior of the ship as well?
It's gift paper. It's wrapping paper. Because it's the holographic wrapping paper. You can actually tell on the one, it got a little bit of a wrinkle and whatever. But and they actually, behind the scenes stuff, they said they use that. So it's neat, but I don't know. It's a bit much.
It's effective. It's effective. And yes. But where do you get the visor from? Did he sneak into his quarters and steal another visor? I guess so.
I guess.
But
yeah, we got one of the little hand torch things. Looks like it's a neural stimulator.
I mean, to be fair, it's not actually that much stuff. Like, it's just like one of the... It's the stealable stuff, though. How do you steal a knife in his jacket?
This linear chip makes sense. The pad. There's a little vial of something over on the right-hand side. I don't know what that is, but... Nothing
particularly radical, though.
Maybe the cure for cancer. That'd be neat. Let's deprive the world of that, guys. Let's keep that with us.
And boy, the phaser gaff. Look at his phaser tree. I mean, that's beautiful, isn't it? Well, it looks like a smaller phaser as well, the way he holds it that way. Like, I know it's the angle, but...
Yeah, Data could just so easily just boop. Like, I hate that conceit in movies where somebody's got a gun pointed at you, and then they go do something like this. Like, okay, what? Or also, they're right in front of you. Stand back, away, out of arm's reach, if you're going to hold a gun to somebody.
I mean,
I hear they couldn't, obviously. But...
Yeah, let's be fair, it's beyond small, to the point where the audio is remarkably good considering how small it is. I was like, that's actually quite impressive. But no, I mean, obviously Data knows that it's deactivated and he knows that there's no danger. He knows he can grab it. Like, I like the lack of tension here. Even though this guy thinks he's in charge, I think the balance is actually quite well done. Because Data, if he, he's got him talking. If he attacks him and grabs a phaser, he might stop talking. So he plays this game as long as possible, which I like. I think it's actually quite effective.
Yeah. But he goes on to explain that he stole this ship from, well, he killed the guy. You get the impression he killed the guy for the ship. Stole his identity, stole the ship. He was an inventor, a really bad one, but now he's going to use these things and invent like one a year kind of thing. And he is in Archer's time, so he would be like one of the leading scientists that you see in an episode, like, hey, look at this thing I invented. So, yeah, that was the plan. And then the ship's going to go back to New Jersey.
Which he says in a weird way, as if he's never been to New Jersey before.
Yeah, or heard of it, yeah. Maybe it doesn't exist in the future. Maybe it's in New York or something. Who knows?
Yeah, there's a few odd decisions in this scene, acting-wise, etc. But, yeah, it's fun. It's a good little payoff. Although, not having the phaser work and not be explained for like 2 minutes, you're left like thinking, oh, what? Is there a plan here? What? But no, it gets him out.
What was he going to do with Data? He's going to stun him, go back to his time, and then what? Control Data? Hold Data captive? No, it's not going to work. That was a stupid plan.
Well, it wasn't a plan.
It was a last minute. Yeah. My plans have changed now because of this. This is what's going to happen. But still.
Well, I mean, my assumption is just keep stunning him every time he wakes up. And then while you're doing that, clear his schematic, see where his off button is, do it. I mean, it doesn't take... I'm sure you can Google off button or kind of
his memory.
Yeah.
Fire him up.
You know, assuming that top stun can work. I mean, how long is he out for? 3 hours? 10 hours? Although considering we previously saw massive amounts of electricity beyond the point of death of people, didn't take him out fully.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but no, it comes out in a rather good. The door opens in the same take. It's a good effect. They did well. Comes out and the antsiness of the guy is wonderful. As it's revealed, no, he's from the 22nd century. Everyone's like, oh, come on, man.
And I love how Beverly looks so disappointed. He's like, it wasn't all a lie. I really wanted to bang you.
And you were interested for at least 12 seconds. He's like, I was. I was. And come on, it's fine. I'll go back to the passport. I need to go back to the. And then, boy, I do not remember. I'll be honest. The heartbreak in his face in the second half of the scene when he knows he's now stuck, all of his mannerisms.
I would feel the same way.
Oh yeah, he feels like a dumpster fire of despair, and it's simple. And I love the because he was on top of the world. You know, he was a con man just about to get 100 million from a billionaire, and the guy calls him out, and now he's in prison. He was one button away from transfer. You know.
Yeah. Well, one thing I want to talk about real quick though.
Yeah.
Wenlock brings this up. I read it as him just letting the other guy die from something else and then taking his stuff. I never got that impression. I always thought at this point that there was a sinister side to him, that he actually killed him for the future tech. Like he followed him around, realized he's from the future, and took him out. Maybe he made friends with him or something to learn how to kind of get into the ship, whatever. And then I always got something a little bit hint of sinisterness, so that you don't like him very much at the end. You know what I mean? And I think. So what do you think? Do you think that he just didn't prevent his death, or?
Yeah. So it's definitely tricky. You can tell that the original chap didn't have a time on his ship. He could come and go as he wanted. That's clear from the context. So he was out there exploring the past. Bad stuff happened. I get the sense here he met I get the sense our guy met the time traveler, worked out he's a time traveler because he's clever. He worked out another con guy being I'm not going to tell you I'm from the future. He's like, no, you're like, he got it. He worked out and then the time traveler was like, oh, you get it. I'll talk to you for a bit. I'll hang out with you because you get it. I didn't have to tell you. I didn't break the Temple Prime Directive because you guessed. Loophole. Hangs out with him for a couple of days, shows him around his time, and then gets in some accident that maims him. Doesn't save him. I get the doesn't save him vibe. Could have prevented his death, but Chewie at the last minute says, I'm going to... And he's dead. Oh no, he's dead. So I think, just as... I didn't kill you, I just didn't pull you up from a fall that was going to kill you. That small technicality. Did Kirk kill Krug, or did he just push him into a volcano? Well, I mean...
Kirk was just cleaning some shit off his shoe.
Yeah. I don't think he's a murderer, but I think he manslaughtered him. I think the malice isn't there. But I think he saw the opportunity in that one moment, like with the data. He saw the last second opportunity and let him die. Like he got hit by
weird.
Yeah.
That's weird because I never got that vibe. I got the sinister that he killed him. I don't know why. I've had that ever since I first saw this. So
yeah, I got a sense
changes the character completely.
Yes, it does. I got the sense I got hit by a car and he was dying and said, "Take me to the hospital," and he didn't. You know.
Yeah, and also that he's deserving of going to prison in the future, not just for stealing a time ship, but for what I mean. Like it almost feels like it's a justified ending.
Oh yeah, well, manslaughter. I mean, it's still you still did him wrong. Although the question is, where is the time pod? Can anyone get into it? It hasn't got a cloaking device as far as we can tell, although that would make sense if it did. There's a time pod in the 22nd century with lots of cool tech and 26 that never came back. I mean, why would it? But somewhere there,
Maybe it only sits there so long and then it resets back to its original time.
That would make sense. Once it goes to standby mode, it's like, yeah, our guys are coming back. We'll go back to the future. I mean, in reality, the time cops, either the 32nd or 29th, would, clean up the mess.
Yes.
But for sure, the unanswered question, for sure.
2 more likes, guys, get to 100, and some super chats would be fantastic. But we're coming to an end here where we get to rate it. And
see, Stuart, we still did get there at the end because I know you wanted to not take
the final line is great, and they used it in a trailer for TNG on TV. Welcome to the 24th century.
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah.
So, guys, we want to know your scores right now. Your out of 10 for this season and for all of TNG. And Super Chat Stuart will read, normal chat I will read. So Stuart will do final thoughts on this episode and in this rewatch, now we actually analyse it.
Still love it. I think it's great. The acting is fantastic. Like I said, all the characters get something to do. It's a perfect sci-fi premise. It's a perfect Star Trek premise. The procedurality of it all, the day-to-day saving a planet with also other things going on. I think it's great. I still have in my mind, he's still like he killed the guy, so he changes the flair of the character by the end. But I like the character as well. I feel bad for the guy for being stuck in the future, but at least he's not stuck like in a dystopian future, so it's not that bad. Come on, he'd probably be in like a blue collar prison like Tom Paris was. Still pretty good, even though it's prison, and probably only a few years. It is what it is. So, anyway, great episode, and the visuals of the Enterprise are pretty great, actually. The space or the ship shots are that box is ticked as well. But yeah, it's got pretty much everything that the good Star Trek episode should have. So the only thing I would add would be Guinan. I think a Guinan scene would be great, but other than that, I mean, that's it. It's great. That's my summation. As for a score,
brief question.
Yes,
we've had 9 this season. Is it the best this season so far?
Yes.
Cool.
Hands down.
Excellent.
So for season 5, it's going to get a 9 out of 10 for me. For all of Trek, or all of TNG, sorry. Probably 8.5, 8.5. It's definitely one of the top tier ones and one of the most memorable. So for multiple reasons.
Would you also agree it would be maybe even a similar score to all of Trek?
Yeah, it's definitely in the upper part for sure.
Yeah, it's like classic because it's a premise that why hasn't it happened before? At least in this show. Yeah, for me, like I say, it's very watchable, very rewatchable. And unlike the last couple of episodes where we had one guest star, Ensign Rowe and the Disaster, where we had the guest star, both female in those cases, the older lady got too much. She had too much screen time. She removed everyone else's screen time. And Ensign Rowe, it was harder to watch on purpose, but it wasn't as enjoyable screen time that she got so much focus on. This episode, he had a lot of screen time, but it was interwoven. He felt like that part of the crew. So we got everybody in it, and yet mass amount of time with one guest star. That's a balance we rarely see. And I love it. I wish there was more of that, for sure. And yeah, the cyber premise is fantastic. Are you going to jump in there?
No.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's great script. The pacing is almost a bit off. Almost. It's on that teetering of something a little bit pacing, but, you know, that's also, I've set 10th time watching it. It's not the same as first time, because the mystery element is a big deal. You know, it's not a reveal anymore, so there is no longer a build-up and payoff. There's more just an enjoyment. And I do wish there was a few more elements added, like tiny ones, but that's very small because it's already so strong. For me, it's also the best of the season so far. Happily. Not even a question. I did give the game a 9. So by definition, I've got to give it higher than a 9 to be consistent with myself. So for this season, 9.2.
Okay.
Very little at fault. And that's 9.8. Don't put 9.8. And I think for all of TNG, I'm going to have to say a 9. I'm going to leave it at 9 as well for all TNG. You know, it just ticks every box. It's top 10%. Not much question, really. You know? And in fact, I think we do our, like, all of our top... There'll all be time episodes. Like a lot of time-based tech-based.
Reality ones, yeah.
Yeah, because it's just... Like, it's not most exciting, but it's just so good on so many levels. It could be better, but for what this cast is... it's a 9. It's just very, very good. Yeah. Top 10%. Top 10%.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Gareth Rooney, though, €5. €5.
Thank you.
Picard saved him from dying from temporal aphasia.
Yeah. Well, no. Well, yes, but no. He wasn't beaming, though, Gareth. He was travelling in a pod that protected him. That's specific. And he wasn't being pulled from his own time stream. He was travelling in... So...
Within...
Yeah.
Exactly.
I get the joke, but not in this case.
Eugene, 1,000 rubles. 9 out of 10. Amazing guest actor.
Yes.
A lot of interesting dialogue with multiple layers of acting.
Yes.
Perfect summation.
Well, and in fact, let me be honest, I think this has a temporal anomaly vibe in that the main actor knows the situation and he's giving multiple levels. Temporal anomaly, same thing. There's other levels built in to it. For sure. And he's also not too much. He's so close to being too much. He's right there. Like you said, he's that quirky professor guy with that little hint of menace. He's right there. And I do think Robin Williams, totally different. Would have been radically different as a performance.
Yeah. In some alternate reality, that's Robin Williams did this part, and I would love to see that, but I think it would have been a different feel.
He would have been the flubber guy.
Yeah.
Which is great, but this is a unique performance. Now, I would have loved it if he had come back in season 6, the exact same storyline, but a real time traveller. And the crew's like, ooh, don't trust you. Brig! And he's like, what? Like, exact same thing. And so then you get the gag if he goes back in time to be 2 of him, and then, you know, he helps get himself out of prison, and, you know, that would have been a fun, like, riff on its own thing. Guys, your scores! Out of 10. You were in the super chat, so I'll talk about non-super chat scores. Norman, 7. Colin, 7.5. Eric, 8. Dave, 8. Ozzy, 8. Anton, 8. And 8. Dan, 7. Donnie, 10. Hey, well done, Matt, I guess. I know that... Guys, come on, give your scores right now in the chat. I want to know your scores. And thanks to Eugene, we only need $15 more. So if we can get a couple of 5s, I mean, throw some 5s at the end. Yeah, but we...
And that's super chat slot.
Yes.
Don't forget.
Do a time travel snipe.
Yeah. And 4 more likes. I think we get to 110. I think 4 people out there haven't hit like. So
yeah,
that would be great.
We want those likes. They're great. Yeah.
It's a very rewatchable episode. Yes, absolutely it is. Time pod went back to the 26th century. No, it didn't. It was heading back to his time, and in New Jersey.
Yeah, it was red angeling. It was set at a certain time to take him back automatically. Not based on the original guy's thing.
Which is a stupid thing to have a time machine do. To be running against the clock, to get back to your time machine when you have a time machine, you're running against the clock is dumb. I'm just saying. Maybe that's the only way time travel works? Sure. But
it would have been better.
It corrects itself. It really does. So maybe that's why it has that limitation.
Well, and like I said, if there's a science thing, and if he'd said, which would have been a fun little conceit if he'd said, oh, we worked out science, if anyone stays more than one day in the past, they affect it more than, like,
And they realize the butterfly effect.
Yeah. So, like, the percentage chance of affecting it goes up from, like, 0.001% to 30%. It's like, oh, God, that 25th hour, whoo, hence. And then I think Picard would be like, oh, that's really interesting. Although then you're giving away 26th century breaking science information, that's a bit of a spoiler in itself.
When lost. San Dimas time.
Whoa.
Strange things afoot at the 1701D.
Always the D.
Shannon asks, how much is 1,000 rubles in dollars?
Quite a bit. But also, we're not greedy, so I lowered the amount that I was asking for. Because we're not greedy.
Yeah. Matt Boardman, $5. Time travel snipe from the 21st century. Thank you, Matt.
I think he missed.
No, it'll show up tomorrow when you least.
Why did he miss then?
No, he fired it. You're already dead in the future.
So this is my last live. Any questions for me?
Don't be sitting there at 3 p.m. tomorrow afternoon.
So do you have any questions for me in my last live then? Before Matt sniped me in the future?
No.
That's sad. How many years now? And the answer is a very simple no. I know all I need to. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yep. It's been great, man.
Oh, well, thank you. That's nice. I appreciate that.
Another $5.
Yes.
Would be great to end out. And 2 more likes. 110 would be a good like number to end on.
Because this is one of those weird ones where it's really fun to watch. It doesn't excite me the way like Yes Enterprise does or Future Imperfect, where there's a real vibe to it. Because I've seen it more, so I know it. It's more mundane because I've seen it, but I know how it made me feel originally. I know the cool factor, but you know what I mean. Like you got to see through the rose-tinted glasses that you have because of multiple watches and just rewatch it as a,
Dave L says maybe he didn't completely figure out the controls for the time pod. That's why he couldn't stay as long as he wanted. I like that. It's kind of like the Greatest American Hero syndrome. He gets the suit, but he loses the instruction manual. So he's got to figure stuff out as he goes, and he screws up all the time. And that makes a lot of sense with something as complex as a time machine. So yes, I think that's a great idea. But
and I always assumed that was like he found an automated system of return. That was a way he could make it travel. And it was an annoying limitation, but it was a shortcut to letting him do time travel. It's like the Doctor saying in Prometheus, the tap pattern alpha. It's like it'll do something.
Yeah.
So he guessed a thing that worked. Yeah. Cool. And then tune in for Studios Live tomorrow.
Tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
We'll see what comes out on Saturday, and I will be away this weekend. But I'll have my PC rendering something very clever. I'll doing something very clever while I'm away, I should say, which will be cool. Well, if it doesn't crash because it can't save, so no crashy.
That's right. And tomorrow, Monday and Wednesday, I likely won't be able to do lives. So Tuesday, Thursday-ish next week. So.
And as a fun update to the Trek Shorts project, I was writing a script today because I had to. We are filming on the they've mostly confirmed, but it's a weird non-confirmed confirmed. Did I finally get message saying they confirmed?
For what?
That's so stupid. It's about Nim. Her mum might have birthday plans that weekend, but she's had 8 days to ask her mother about plans. They live in the same house.
It's a big house.
It's like, why haven't you asked her yet? I need to book a hotel because I'm spending a weekend filming. Ask your freaking mother. Why haven't you asked her? But it's the don't be worried because I'm sure it'll work out fine. Don't, doesn't matter as long as she reads the script. Anyway, so we're filming a short on the, assuming she confirms, on the 31st of the 1st. Then we are confirming a short on the 2nd, which Nick from Intrepid is actually flying down from Scotland to the UK to film.
Ooh.
Which will be fun. Filming Marcus and Nick doing the Duty of Starfleet mini short. And then, on the 27th as well. I forgot the 27th, we're filming our first part of the Stargate Star Trek short. Everyone's confirmed for that. Everyone's learning their lines. All the props are in the house. I'm staring at a very high-end, cool prop right there. Right there, Stuart! You can't see it, but it's right there. And that'll be fun. I get to film in a forest again. And then I'm also flying to Scotland a week after Scotland flies to me. Nick flies to me. Just shoot something for him. So I'll be in Scotland 3 days before Lower Decks. I'll come back, be jet lagged. I won't be jet lagged. I'll go straight into Lower Decks, having filmed 4 times in 3 weeks. But boy, because Lower Decks once it starts, I will not have that same time. So I was like, yes, book before the 12th, please, please. I just wish it'd been slightly more spread out than all the damn time.
That's the price you pay when you want to do some cool shit.
Yeah, pretty much.
Eugene, 500 rubles says, fine, have another one. Thank you so much. That's perfect. That got us over that little minor goal that we had, so thank you. And one more like would be great from somebody. Somebody hasn't hit like, but that's okay. Anyway.
Yeah, pretty much. Have a great evening, guys. And I'll certainly see you next week.
And I'll see you Friday night, guys. Until then, he's Commander Calkins.
He's got a phone. Bye, guys.
And we're Trekyards.
Bye, guys.
Later.